Čekaj, stvarno budete ti i Mari napravili zajednički YouTube kanal?
Bom vidjeli kak ide. Nismo se još, kurac smo se dogovorili za sad, pa...
Ja mislim da onak dođe do 10 subscribera da je on sretni.
Ma je isto iskreno, ako dođe do 10.
Dobro, 10 subscribera kaj nisu ljudi kaj ga zapravo poznaju kaj mi je rekao.
Ne!
Ne, sad ću. Ne. Pa daj. Čekaj, isključi mikrofon na PlayStationu.
Gdje ne možemo da se spojimo na Discord u pozivu onda.
Jel ti čuješ ovo?
Ne možemo da se spojimo na Discord.
Onda se neće... Ooooaaaa!
Da, to se događa.
Pa možda na Discord ući, pa onda se neće čuti party na ekranu, kužiš.
Možda na Discord ući, pa
Ajde.
neće
What are you gonna do?
Let's go. Hey, come on. Count on it!
Well then. Shall we? Oh, very sad. It's true. Very nice. Well, thrills, chills.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay, then. So, first off, let's talk about the murder weapon!
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a...
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. What kind of blunt instrument?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Interesting. That certainly would make for...
Poor Chihiro.
Chihiro's fatal. It appears it was a head...
According to the Monokuma file, what kind of blunt...
I bet it was an iron pipe.
No, that's wrong!
Can we
we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell found at the scene of the crime? It was covered in blood, and there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that kind of injury.
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this one.
You looked at her head wound?
Yay! That's so creepy!
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already quite clear.
What? For real?
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack. The culprit is Genocide Jack, I'm sure. Shoot! The culprit is Genocide Jack, I'm sure. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
No, it's wrong! I might know one reason he could be involved.
What?
I found this file while I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police...
What? That's kinda weird as shit.
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. So let's forget about that for now. More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every Genocide Jack case in exceeding detail. According to the file, there appear to be two defining characteristics in every Genocide Jack case. The first is that a bloody message is found written at the scene of every murder.
No. It's actually
But more important is the other characteristic, and it's something that has never been made public.
Never made public? What the hell is it?
Why don't you tell them, Makoto?
gun! Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware of it? There's only one logical answer I can think of. It's because the culprit in this case is the real Genocide Jack.
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes, in fact, it's Toko.
What?
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa.
What? Hey, okay, Toko has like blotophobia or whatever.
Is Toko Genocide Jack? The answer.
Another riddle. Man, why is this gotta be so complicated?
Now I understand. Is it because Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file too. They thought that the suspect might have, what did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, okay. But still, to go insane.
Perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
Shoot! I got it! You're talking about how she's...
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and...
She was acting funny, that's for sure.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can handle...
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared of Genocide Jack?
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
What?
Toko was afraid. afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her.
How?
Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know? What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation. She told me a most interesting story. She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time. And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie.
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
You promised. I can't believe you lied.
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you to. This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy fairy tale. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise,
You said if I kept my promise, you would go out with me. That's the only reason I promised.
how many times do I have to tell you? I never said that. But you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing.
I tried. I swear I tried to control it.
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
I hate you.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished.
The person you don't mean.
Well, hello there! Is it me you were hoping to see? What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck is this?
What happened to you?
Not Toko. That's a loser name. And what happened is a textbook split personality. So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's fault.
So intense.
Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've come to know.
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back human. Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or how in the depths of every truth lives a little lie. Behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright.
Miss Jack, Jill,
What's up?
some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you. I am the mastermind of all masterminds. Just kidding.
Of course it's not true. How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid? And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world are totally powerless. I mean, they just let this idiotic bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over town.
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes pain for everyone. Just kidding again!
This should be enough to convince you. This murderous fiend bears clearly a motive.
A motive?
Remember what if someone didn't murder and graduate within 2012, let's assume if a secret like that came to light, Toko's life, so she had a very clear motive.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But sorry, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit.
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone in such a bizarre fashion.
Maybe so, but nevertheless, it's the truth.
Do you really expect any of us to believe you?
Yeah. I could never believe a word you say, you monster.
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely.
No, it's wrong! Are the methods of murder really exactly the same? I'm not so sure about that. I think there's a slight difference between...
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage! I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional, and I have a very particular way of doing things. Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about the noodles, the sauce, but what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee. This is no creation of mine.
Let me rephrase that. There are two clear differences. I got it! For one, the in the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way. According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with but Chihiro died from a blow to the head. Ah, yes! Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills and there's more?
That's right! In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto sauce!
Can you please stop comparing killing people to cooking? So, are you saying the other difference has to do with how the body was arranged?
I got it! Do you remember what the killer used to suspend her? They used some kind of rope to hang her up by her wrists.
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous Genocide Jack cases, specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I used my own specially designed scissors for the murders and the arrangement. Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use. And you know what else? Big Mac said there's two differences.
Big Mac?
Listen up, Big Mac. There's actually one.
Huh?
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look at who the victims were. There's a pattern there. Just
pattern.
Figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly killed that little lolly girl.
I got it! Is it because...
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
In all the Genocide Jack...
They were all... guys?
That's right! The people I kill with such passion and conviction are all adorable little men. I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl, and the movie side of me just hates it. But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged fan madam!
So since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man,
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't be stupid. I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line. That's the absolute reality.
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. It's a different matter entirely.
Quiet, Lowly Cur!
Lowly? Cur?
I would never kill for a reason and if by some fluke I did, why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the obvious suspect!
That does.
Plus, whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my... Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell? Maybe you use the dumbbell because you... Any scissors? I don't just use any scissors. I only use my own set of...
okay, whatever. You're still...
Are you sure about that? She's fully equipped. That's right. So I can kill anywhere, anytime. Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty scissors by my side? Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong. You can't. Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot. So rope's totally out of the question anyway.
I have no idea what's going on anymore. But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police knew about that.
Yeah. That's why we figured it had to be the real deal and not some copycat killer or whatever.
Here's my answer. Byakuya, it's possible you could have found out, isn't it? You'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents or internal police records. Plus, you've already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all happened, hadn't you?
Are you saying Mr. Toga?
Then, the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being the killer so hard was because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like I put my stamp on it. The adorable glasses man was behind it all. Oh, I'm on fire!
Well, Byakuya, what's your...
I see. So now the suspicion falls on me. Then I must ask, when would you say I began acting?
The way you were acting right before we discovered the... You wanted to go to the girls' locker room.
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. The victim was Chihiro.
Nothing strange about that.
On the contrary, there's some...
Okay then, go ahead. Share with the rest of the class.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So, of course, I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro.
No, that's wrong! I'll tell you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim was. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim doesn't hold up.
I see. That's a good answer, I must admit. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. But your reasoning is still too weak.
Huh?
What's wrong? Is that it? Sure. What's the matter? You're not finished already, are you? There must be more to it.
There is.
There is more to it. We just talked about the differences between the proof you're looking for is hidden.
Oh? Proof that I...
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
Shoot! What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, I use my bare and I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope.
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
explain it. When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was some kind of...
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very...
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I've never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to explain when I want to kill, and I use those same scissors.
But Chihiro was some kind of...
That's right! It absolutely...
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I've never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use those same scissors to...
But Chihiro was suspended with some kind of rope.
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very...
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I've never seen that rope before in my life.
No, that's wrong! Actually, I'm pretty sure you have seen it before. Because, you see, that rope, or should I say, that extension cord?
What? An extension cord?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library, and the same extension cord that was in the... went missing after... And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do wouldn't discover that fact.
And Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine any other possibility.
That's really what you think? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker. I intentionally made it look... Is that about right? What's wrong?
Hell yes, that's what happened. So that's it, right?
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
You kept calling this a game, right?
Sorry, but I think we need to talk about this a little more.
Sure. Do we really need to? We've already decided who did it.
I know, but still. There's something that's still bothering...
Is that right? And what, pray tell, is I killed her in the girls' locker room. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicidal psychopath. What about all that bothers you?
Shoot! I got it! You say you killed Chihiro and the girls, but are you sure about that?
How What kind of question is that? She was found dead in the girls' locker room. There is absolutely no question about that. How could the scene of the crime have been anywhere?
Well, I think it's along with the rest of the murder.
Oh. That was awfully specific.
I believe I do.
Hey! Don't just move on without permission! What do you mean she was killed?
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place...
I got it! The proof that she was killed somewhere else is the poster that's hanging in each locker room.
Your proof is some posters?
The poster in the girls' locker, a picture of a big boobed supermodel. But don't you think that's kind of strange? Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room had a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado. Again, That doesn't really seem to believe.
So you're saying...
And there's one other thing I know. You know what I'm talking about.
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein coffee?
Well, I was in the girls' locker room early, but I noticed that after the murder...
I got it! The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Then, does that but... Why?
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. In other words, in order to completely the blood-stained poster and carpet, by doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but why would the culprit bother doing that, huh? Why would they go through all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question, then how did Chihiro get in the boys' To get into the locker rooms, you have to swap of Chihiro's handbook. She had no way to get in.
No, she did have a way!
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you,
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course.
No, it's wrong! No, I don't...
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be pretty impossible, huh?
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Plus, isn't there a regulation against using someone else's handbook?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing about borrowing one. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup. Hit the nail square on the noggin.
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers, like I said. She used her ultimate programmer...
You can't fix an e-handbook. The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blip.
So, if she didn't use Leon's hand...
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial...
It seems like there's no way she could have got...
Okay then,
Hold on a second. I agree with you, though. I think you're on...
What the... You finally decide to open your mouth, and there's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So...
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in?
What?
what are you talking about?
Well, why don't we take a little break from the trial?
Wait. Just what do you think you're doing?
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought must please you.
Huh? It'll make things more exciting? Well, all right then. I declare an official class trial recess.
For real?
Now then, what is it you want to
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations.
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place top...
I'd like you to examine the victim. Be sure to examine the entire...
Examine her.
No, wait! It's probably best if I don't...
It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just...
Very well. I'll do it.
But you're a girl.
No, it's okay. So just leave it.
What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about? That's not it at all.
Okay. I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please excuse the intrusion.
Be sure to check her entire body.
Her entire body? What?
What is it?
Not possible. It's not possible. This
Is what?
is a boy!
Ah, I see. So...
You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Ren, it's really...
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right. Chihiro Fujisaki...
He was a cross-dresser? Oh, we're really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
So that's what Kyoko wants. Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting. Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back... Ahem. I do apologize. We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that...
Yes, well, I don't know his... And because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as...
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed...
So then, there should be no issue with... The victim was killed in the boys' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does seem plausible.
Well, I must admit, I did find it rather odd. I knew he felt a little... off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
This is the most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected.
Okay, well, connected or clear or...
What about you, Makoto?
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that... But... I think he might not actually...
What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first place?
He just seems to be too... easygoing about all this. The way he's acting, it makes...
And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with it?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... how can I put it? Overt. He consciously chose to use the extension cord. At least... And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' and then again when you found out Chihiro was... If you really were the killer, that stuff...
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct.
Mark it as...
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Are you fucking with us right now?
No, I am not effing with you right now. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, I find it very hard to believe.
Go ahead, find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you're really telling the truth, then...
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering now then.
Well, I don't think I can say for sure.
You're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we?
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any, because if we're wrong, we all... That's true.
Damn straight. Do you not have a mind of your own? Of course I do.
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time.
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the...
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hot...
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but... Did nobody get a look at the killer? I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
Shoot! Isn't there a single clue that might... Well, did nobody get... I'm sure if someone saw the... Perhaps someone saw the victim at some...
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer! And only the killer!
No, it's wrong! I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes. I did see him.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Whatever! Just turn...
It was last night, right before night. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag. And then, I assume, he headed off.
A track jacket and a duffel bag?
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed...
And that is when he said something. Chihiro told me he was, but why would he be in a hurry?
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone.
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much. Enough so that he was willing to risk his...
Oh, what a marvelous friend! The point is, whoever he met up with...
But knowing what we know...
No. You already have what you need.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously? Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and focus on the details of these items.
Are you sure? You really think we can figure out who did it?
Why? You want to track...
Even if we had the equipment for that.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's...
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to spit fine.
So the bag was... All the bags in there are the same, so...
Well, if I remember right, do you think there might be some connection?
Perhaps. Let's explore. First of all, we know where Chihiro was heading. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? First of all, we know where Chihiro was heading. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit personally.
Shoot! First of all, we know he was on his way to go, so next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific track?
What do you mean, the specific?
I got it! He picked that. It matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get any closer to figuring
No way. Not a chance.
You heard him, right? What he just said was... First of all, we know where Chihiro, he was on his way to go, so next we have to, why did he choose this?
What do you mean, the specific?
I got it! It matched the one the culprit...
So, what you're saying, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit?
No, it's wrong!
Hold on a second, Mondo. Huh? What'd I say? When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she... She never said anything about the jacket, so why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
What are you... You just...
Hey, Celeste, what color was Chi?
As a matter of fact, it was blue.
And before we began the trial,
The only one I told about.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what colors?
Because I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
No, the bag and clothes were surely disposed.
Then the only reason he could have known what is if he saw Cherry with it before he died. That's the only possibility.
Cherry?
So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
no, that can't be it. When Celeste noticed it, Chihiro, you just ran into him briefly. You couldn't possibly have seen what...
It would appear you did.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said, will you focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with?
Ah, now I understand. Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the cult. That's why you said you knew who did it.
That's right. Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about why. That's a good question. There was a certain maybe you didn't notice it. You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick. And after he was killed, you happened to refer to him as dude. Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
You know he's such a tot.
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
No, I'm not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a
Mondo, did you really?
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth. What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Yeah! He would never do something like that!
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty...
That was... Well, this does present us with a problem.
That's what my little ghost...
Oh yeah, that reminds me.
Really?
Actually, no. Now that I'm...
Jeez, does your confidence just get...
It happens to be an e-handbook.
I got it! We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally...
But it must hold some clue about...
Well, that's what I was hoping.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of it.
That's odd. I didn't think the hand...
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would...
And yet, this one does appear to be broken for all your confidence.
How?
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook...
Yeah! You remember that? Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never... But if the handbook is supposed to never break...
Then we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is. I think it's a necessary piece of information if you...
But if I tell you, and just
Tell us already!
oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't then allow me to make a special announcement? The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is...